trading is a very tough, vigorous sport, which is going to test every part of you. It's up to people who teach people how to trade to tell people the reality of it quickly. The edge is actually you and how you interpret the market.
He's been trading for over a decade. He's a CPD accredited educator who's helped thousands of traders worldwide find consistency in the market. He's not about the flashy lifestyle, the cars, the watches. He's about the freedom that trading actually creates. Our guest today has built a reputation of cutting through the noise in an industry that's full of it. Former personal trainer, now full-time trader, family man, speaker and mentor. It's my pleasure to welcome our guest, Tom.
Thanks for having me, mate.
Welcome on the podcast, man. I know you were here.
Yeah, good to see you again.
Just over a year ago, actually, and it was a
About
four-way.
18 months ago now, wasn't it? Was it?
No. It was that last Jan.
Was it
I
last
think.
January? I can't. Well, yeah,
I think.
maybe.
But either way, yeah, it's great to have you back on.
Yeah.
Of course, I feel like everyone knows you, but for those that might not know you, would you mind just giving like a super short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, well, yeah, my name's Tom. Just a normal family guy. I live in Essex in England. Predominantly trading now since 2015. Before that, I've been involved in various other businesses, whether it be startup, whether it be the fitness industry, whether it be manufacturing industry. I've kind of been someone that's tried everything out there, and obviously stumbled across into trading for the same reason everyone wants to do it and tries to do it, whether it's to make more money or to just leave the current situation they're in. And essentially I stumbled into that industry, and it was one of the only industries where I kind of just was able to make it work in the long run. And I found it addictive personally. I still do in a way, but I'm just a lot more mature in how I look at it now with regards to how it works, how to actually make money off of it. But yeah, really enjoyed it to the point where I think it was 2020 I started, just not with any view of trying to grow any sense of social media, but just to post my own journey and put some stuff on there. And it just started getting better and better. It started working a little bit better. So I started obviously moving into the social media side of it as well. And now I'm in a position where I'm trading. I'm doing social media. I'm running other businesses as well. I'm an investor, and it's growing at a nice rate. But I like to think of myself as a very humble person. I'm nowhere near a finished article. I am not a content creator. I am somebody who's trying to continue to win at life. I consider myself generally an apprentice, not just in trading, but in life. And I'm always learning. I'm always trying to be a sponge to everything I do. I people watch all the time. I'm always looking and learning and trying to get to know people. And it's what it's about, in my opinion. You only get one life, and I think you've got to learn, be willing to learn and adapt to everyday situations. And I'm doing that every day in the markets. I'm doing that every day with everything else I do as well.
Yeah. I remember your quote actually from last year's podcast when you said, always be a student of life. And I think that really stuck with me, because I feel like, particularly with trading or just business in general, when people have some level of success, they seem to think of themselves as the finished product. And then it limits their potential so much, right?
Honestly, so I look at people on social media who act in that way. And they say from zero to millionaire, and I think even if you get to millionaire, where are you? Where is the line? It's like with the numbers system. What is the last number in the world? How long can you count for? And I'm not talking about monetary numbers or anything like that. I'm talking about learning. And I'm 35 next month, and I look at myself as a child still. I look at myself as someone that has a lot of maturing to do. I look at myself as someone who's got a lot to learn, because I feel like when I speak to someone who is 45, who does exactly what I do, I'm begging them for an hour of their time just to get their experience, to get their knowledge, to get what they've gone through. Because in my opinion, nothing in the world can substitute experience. I take a lot of that from like my own dad. He's had a business for the last 40 years, 30 years, and I used to work for him, and I always used to remember saying to him when I was just working for him, I want to run this one day. I want to do this one day. And he says, yeah, you need to do this for 20 years. And then suddenly when you're really good at it, you can start employing people, because you've done everyone's job. And it always stuck with me. And I always used to sit there at a time thinking, as a 21-year-old, thinking, no, I just want it now. But it's when you run your own business, it's when you get all that experience, you sit there and you think, oh, actually, no, I get what he's saying. You do need that experience. And I think when I look at a 22-year-old online who says they're the finished article, they've been trading for 2 years or something like that, and I just look and think, you haven't even started. You're a baby still. Yeah. And I look at myself as that. I've got a lot of maturing. I've got a lot of everything to do, but I'm trying, and I'm happy. I'm to sit here and admit that.
Yeah, definitely. So, do you feel like growing up, when you were working for your dad's business, it kind of fueled your competitive drive to almost want to match him?
Yeah, well, I look up to him. I look up to a lot of people, specifically him as well. I've always looked up to him, and everything he's done with what he built, and he built it from the ground up. He didn't come from money or anything like that. He built a business renting a space off of his own dad's place that he had at the time, and then he obviously built it. He's in the manufacturing business basically, and yeah, he just had a small order book. He grew it into a bigger order book, and he built a business off of it. And yeah, I wanted to do similar stuff, and I've managed to do it, but not in that industry, but in my own industry now, with it be social media, trading, whatever else I do. And you learn things along the way. I learned nothing from school. I learned nothing at school, not through lack of just not being smart enough or anything like that. It was just, I didn't learn anything. I left school with 2 GCSEs. I was basically a dropout at college. I had to stay there for 4 years in the end just to meet the qualifications to try and move on to the next stage. It never worked out for me. And I never learned anything up to the age of maybe 19. I hadn't learned a single thing that would help me in life. I met friends and people who became my family for life in terms of some of the best memories from those times. Even from the age, I would say 20 to like right now, I've spent that time building experience in certain things, not just trading, but business, in how to be a good person, how to stop being as bad a person, how to run other businesses, how to actually invest properly, how to trade, how to do all these different things. And I'm nowhere near finished with that. I'm always looking ahead, and I see a lot of it when someone says you can make £10,000 a month, for example. That's always a staple, isn't it? £10,000 a month is one thing, but when someone gets to £10,000 a month, that isn't enough when you get there. It might look like a dream if you're not there now, but when you get there, suddenly you're reliant on £10,000 a month. So the point where your new goal is actually £20,000 a month, and then when you get to 20,000, then suddenly it's actually I need 30,000, because you're accustomed to living that way, or your lifestyle builds up to the point where it costs that much or whatever it is. But you should always be willing to learn and get bigger, because there's a lot of people on this planet and there's a lot to learn. And I think I think the world would be a better place if everyone is always willing to be a sponge to more knowledge.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, the environment is so important to seeing people around you trying to make things happen, whether they're succeeding or not. It's just that the drive to make something out of themselves, and it really does go far, because it's contagious. You make everyone else want to be a better person. And again, I feel like this life is too short to ever learn like enough that you want to learn, but you can always do your best at trying to maximize yourself in multiple areas.
Yeah, and one thing won't always be enough. I think when you look at what people are also happy and content with as well, and equally, I think it's hard to look at someone else's life and think this is what they need when you don't know what they first and foremost. So to judge people, it goes a long way, doesn't it? And I think when you're trying to build a career, let's say you want to be a trader or a day trader, when you're online and you're looking for information on how to do it online, there's so much information which is both good and bad, but there's no right or wrong. So it's up to the person to kind of learn on their own as well, if that makes sense.
How would you differentiate between like what is good and what is bad?
So if you go on Google, the first place everyone stumbles to must be Google. If someone's decided I want to be a day trader, or maybe they've seen an advert on Facebook or Instagram, whatever. Most of the time, I would say they get involved for the bad reasons. Because, and I'm included in this, by the way, I remember the first ever advert I saw. It was Greg Secker. And
I've seen a few.
I remember him, and I remember this advert so well because I was just scrolling and I remember seeing him walking out of his great big house in front of his pool. He comes across on the camera so well, and his charisma, his charm, wearing smart clothes. I just remember sitting there thinking, oh, wow, this looks really. I wasn't even thinking about what he was saying, and then when I looked at the advert and he said, "Oh, I do this for 5-10 minutes a day," and all this, and I just thought, yeah, like this is amazing. And I didn't go with him. I couldn't afford to go with him, but I was into it. That was the first advert I ever saw. But then you look online, you think, oh, I want to do this, and then you go on YouTube, and then you type in on Google. The first thing that happens when you type in on Google, learn to trade, it's to sign up with this broker. Just put in a couple of £100, £1,000, sign up and start investing today, like today. And it's like, no, that's not how it should be. You shouldn't invest today, but people do it. Millions of people around the world are investing today because regulated brokers are telling you to. I go to the West Ham game, and I see all over the big screen TV, invest with your broker today. Someone that has no idea how to invest into the markets is being told to by this massive firm to invest today. Not to mention the car crash of social media in terms of, like we said, the young influencers, the big influencers who have got millions and millions of followers around the world, who straight up aren't traders, they are just content creators, but they push a narrative in front of you to make it look like this is what their life is specifically because of trading. And I'm not saying you can't achieve those things in trading, but trading is a very tough, vigorous sport, which is going to test every part of you emotionally, physically, mentally, and it's soul destroying in ways, because a lot of these young people online, from their way looking out, they're sitting in front of a beach or wherever they think they are, and they're telling you how easy it is, but they're not looking at the specific person that wants to learn how to trade. Why does someone want to learn how to trade in the first place? Are they in debt? Most people, let's be fair, they come to learn, or they want to trade because they might feel that they've got no choice but to learn how to trade. So they might be in debt that they need to get themselves out of. They might be in a job they absolutely cannot stand, and they just want to get out of their situation. They might be up against it with family. Maybe they're going through a separation, they need to earn extra money. Maybe whatever. There's loads of reasons, but the reasons are primarily negative. And the negative reason they come into the markets, their first experience of looking at how to trade, the reasons for it are actually negative. How many people are happy in their jobs? I've got a friend who works in insurance, for example, very, very happy, earns good money. And why would he wake up tomorrow and think, I want to learn how to day trade? If he's not aware of the world outside of it, of what's there, he's happy in his job, he goes home to his beautiful wife and his beautiful children, he's already got his own investments in place through the financial advice he's been given, whatever. Why does he want to learn how to day trade? He doesn't need to. And these people are being put in front of people who are desperate, basically. So it's up to people who teach people how to trade to tell people the reality of it quickly. Not, this is going to happen for you within however long, a week, 2 weeks. You can sign up with this broker, you can invest today. That's the reality of how it is online. And it's not just trading. If you look at the fitness space, everyone coming to a fitness coach is not happy with their body. They want to do something, want to lose weight. And then their image of what it is, I'm not saying it's bad to want to lose weight. I'm desperate to lose weight. But it's looking at someone who is online, absolutely racked up to their eyeballs on steroids, and saying how you can build this physique in 6 weeks. It's not possible. It's the lies that come with it as well, and it's the reality of it. It took me 5 years before I really saw any money in trading. Before I saw anything come of social media, it took me 2 years. Before I saw anything out of other businesses I've run, it took me a long, long time. It's only now I'm starting to see rewards, and I'm not someone that's finished or in a position where I want to be finished, if that makes sense. And I'm still learning. But that's one of the biggest problems. It's people coming online, they're already down.
Yeah.
And most people kick them when they're down. They don't help them rise up.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think trading specifically, I think a lot of people see it as a get out. Like, that's my way to escape my trauma or whatever I'm experiencing right now. And then it's almost like all these companies play into it in a sense of invest today, because in no other career are you allowed to just start something today without any experience or any education. But something that requires you to put your hard-earned money, you can just go in without any clue of what you're doing and just, it's essentially gambling. That's essentially what it ends up becoming for a lot of people.
Well, is trading gambling? Is day trading gambling?
What do you think?
I think it is.
You think so?
Well, so there's a big thing on social media at the moment, and I like this debate generally, and I respect the debate. I'm not sitting here talking about anyone in the markets or anything like that. And as much as there is bad on social media, there's actually a lot of good on social media. It's just I've been in this game long enough to know who's good and who's bad, if that makes sense. There's a lot of people online who are talking about, they're obviously bringing down like the ICT world, the smart money concepts world, the supply demand world, the head and shoulders pattern world, whatever. Now it's about, you need to understand quantitative finance. You need to understand coding. You need to understand order flow, volume profile. Before you even do anything, it's all very complicated concepts. I don't know anything about any of that, like at all. I am in the market, and everyone paints me under the brush of ICT concepts. And whilst I use a lot of his terminologies and phrases, I trade in what way I think the market is going to go. And my way of trading is, I see certain patterns in the market which are repeatable. I don't know why the orders are there. I don't know what's being put on the book. I don't know anything about that. I see, for example, I like trading off of imbalances and Fibonacci levels. I know, based on the fact that if I take 20 trades, and I always try and aim for a bigger win than I do a loss, i.e. if I risk £100, I'm going to get £200 back for the trade. I very rarely go to break even. I know over those 20 trades, I can win 50% of the time. And if I win 50% of the time, I've made money. That is the goal, to make money. Mm-hmm. Based on what I've just said there, am I gambling? You could argue, yes, you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's educated gambling. You are not looking at the markets with this is a fact that this is going to move in this direction. You
never really know.
Probably going to move in this direction based on the analysis I'm doing. And I look at order flow, and the idea is that apparently you can see the real numbers. So if the sellers are really strong in the market, then obviously it's more of a signal to sell the market. That gives you a massive advantage. But I don't think order flow traders have a 100% win rate. I don't think anyone has a 100% win rate. So based on that, this is my question to anyone order flow trading, are they still doing the same as me in terms of educated gambling? Have they just got a bigger advantage in that? I don't know. And I respect a lot of them. I respect all of them. And it's a great debate. I'd love to I would love to have a round table and talk to an order flow trader and debate it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to set that up. That'll be great, actually.
Yeah, because I think that everyone's scared to do it, because I think a lot of them, not the order flow traders, but traders who would trade, let's say, supply and demand, it would come out as to who can actually trade, because I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone and be asked questions about how I trade, because I know what I do works. I'm very comfortable to sit here and stand here now and say I do not have an 80% win rate. I have between 40 to 50% of a win rate. I shared my journal with my students the other week that had January and February, and it was a 38% win rate. I was £25,000 up. Like, you don't need, and you can't have a 90% win rate. It is not possible. The market doesn't pay attention to the way I trade. It probably doesn't pay attention to even a volume profile trader. It certainly doesn't pay attention to the ICT, the smart money ways. It pays attention to doing whatever it wants to do. If the market's going up, it's going up. If it's going down, it's going down. And all I'm doing is coming into the market with an idea of just getting a small piece.
Yeah, no, that is the age-old debate. And yeah, I'd love to get a round table to discuss, obviously, the order flow and also everyone's thoughts, because I feel like people are so divided when it comes to that question. Is trading gambling? You got people fighting for and against, and it's just...
There's something I don't like, and I've seen it. I think I've seen your channel do it a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's not you personally, but I think where you've got someone, you had a guy outside and you said Wyckoff or ICT.
Yeah,
and the
blind ranking strategies. Yeah.
And blind ranking strategies. Well, I know someone who is just supply and demand, only focuses on supply and demand on gold, has made hundreds of thousands of pounds. And he doesn't have a clue about anything. He just goes and just trades it. I know someone that does head and shoulders, does very, very well. I can't recognize a head and shoulders pattern. Maybe I'm trading it without knowing it. I don't know. But I think it's about the context of how each person wants and is able to actually extract money from the market, because everyone wants to come into the market to just make money, whether it is to get out of their situation or whether it is to just improve themselves, whatever it is. It's about coming into the markets and making money. I do not trade trend lines, for example. That's not to say someone can't necessarily make money trading trend lines. So just because I don't trade these trend lines doesn't mean that it doesn't work. I'm sure that if you apply a certain way of doing it, you can make it work. But I actually think there is no strategy that works. I think it's the way the person trades. So like I've said this before, you're the strategy, not the strategy itself. 97% of people will lose if they try and focus on a precision based strategy.
Yeah.
It's how you interpret the markets. Like, my entry could be off of a level on a Fibonacci retracement. It could be off of an imbalance. Sometimes I think it's going to go higher. I just press buy and put my stop loss under the previous day low, and I just walk away. It's that dopamine hit people are after when they're trying to trade on really small time frames. And what they're actually doing is they're thinking in their head, I can be in and out of the market quicker. But I do my analysis and I'm in a trade within 5-10 minutes, and I close my laptop and I let the position play, because that trade has got one entry method and two exit methods. One is the entry, as in setting the order. The first exit method is where you exit the market at a large win. And the other exit method is where, and a lot of people don't understand this, your stop loss gets hit in order to protect you from taking large losses. You should be relieved when your stop loss is hit, because you have only risked what you are willing to lose instead of losing more than you're willing to risk. So if you've set your stop loss at £500, that's you've invested that's gone, that's away. If you lose your trade, you've lost that £500. If you are upset about that stop loss being hit, you're too overextended on that £500. And that's another thing that really, really will halt anyone who wants to learn how to trade. Yeah,
that's actually a good point, because people never see it as not that they don't respect a stop loss, but they don't appreciate the stop loss, shall I say. They go in probably over risking it, and then when it gets hit, they kind of like, oh, the market's against me, blah, 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 when in reality it could be much worse. And yeah, it can be much worse. But on the topic of strategies then, because I see it all the time, I'll literally see two traders that have different strategies for each other, but they're taking the same exact setup. And I feel like oftentimes people are trading the same thing and just classifying it in completely different terms to kind of, I feel like it's an ego thing. It's, I trade this and I think I know what's going on in the market, but how do you then go about actually finding an edge?
Well, the edge is you. The edge is actually you and how you interpret the market. Like you said, someone can take a trade and the next person can take the same trade and lose, and this person can win or whatever it may succumb to. But it's how you manage the trade as well, and it's how you interpret the market. Like I said, if I think the market's going to go higher, I just press buy randomly somewhere in the market, and I just give myself a nice stop loss, and I'll hold a trade for a couple of days. Does that make me a swing trader? Maybe, but that's what I do. And if I'm at the market open, or I'm trying to wait for something in the market, if it's there, I just trade it. Sometimes I don't. I think the biggest thing for a trader is to get out of your head about a strategy. Actually try and put in your head targets. Where do you think the price or the asset you want to trade is likely to go on that particular day? So I love trying to target a previous day high or low, or a previous week high or low. There, for me, are the two top targets when it comes to trading price. If you think price action is trending in that direction, what's stopping you from actually just pressing buy or sell? I
do ask myself that sometimes.
Yeah.
I do ask myself sometimes. Yeah, how do you, I guess, decide how to enter then?
So I like to wait for news releases to come out, BrightFunded USD news events. And when we have a news event, basically that's when I like to see some form of manipulation in the market. And after you've seen manipulation in the market, usually it's like a giant wick. So in trading, you obviously have like the body of the candle and you have the wick. If you've got like a large wick and then a close of a body, which is, let's say, for example, you wanted price to go higher, but a news candle has opened and it's maybe 8:30 Eastern. I took Eastern time. That news release, let's say it's unemployment claims or CPI or something. Let's just say the candle where you wanted it to go higher has actually come lower. And then by the end of that 1 hour candle close, it's actually closed higher. It's left with a giant wick. I'm looking at that wick and I'm thinking, it's gone down there for a reason. It's closed higher. The bodies of the candle is respecting the structure. Why don't I just buy with my stop loss under that manipulation level, on the understanding that that's probably creating a low of the day. If the target is still there, which is either going to be the previous day high or the previous week high, and I think price can go there. And here's the hard bit: take the trade and close that laptop and go about your day. Don't stare at it, because your stop loss will be there to protect you. Why do you need to do anything? What more?
Why do you need to watch it?
Why do you want to watch it? It's because people are like addicted to they're overextended on their risk, and they're worried they're going to lose, and then they get excited when they see themselves in profit. And that's not how trading should work. It's people should want to get into trading. So we spoke about why people have to get into trading. They feel like they have to. People should want to get into trading to create more time and freedom to spend with their friends and their family, but also create more time and freedom to go and do what you really want to do. Did you wake up one day and realize it's your dream to be a trader at school? Or did you want to go and be a PE teacher or a pilot or a astronaut or whatever it was? And I'm not saying you don't do a trader and go and do those things, but I'm sure everyone wants to earn more money and live a life where they're on their own terms, be able to travel around the world. I can take my family to Australia for 6 weeks if I want to, and we can just go out and be there. And I can take my family to America if I want to. I can have 2-3 ski holidays a year, and I can work around the world doing it. Trading has allowed me to do that, but it's also allowed me to go and make more money doing other things. And that's why people should want to get into trading. But the idea of that whole thing working would be where you spend less time actually trading But when you're spending less time trading, it doesn't mean that a position can't be playing out for you over a 3-day period. Your trade could be active right now. And if your trade is active right now, why do you need to be there? Because you're either going to get stopped out at a risk that you have set and you should be comfortable with, or you're going to take profit. And like I said at the start, as long as you've got a model or a way of doing it where you're entering with a certain risk reward, you can absolutely lose 60% of these trades and still make money. Because a trader's mindset should be small losses, big wins. The big wins eat up the small losses and make you money. And people can't accept that. It's very hard for people, but that's because of the way we're trained. It's the way everyone is trained.
Yeah,
I think anyway.
It's a good point, because I don't think no one's ever woken up or grown up as a child and thought, I want to be a trader. It's because trading, I guess, is just clicking it's clicking buttons on a screen. So it's not anything that's innately enjoyable or fun, because you're not doing much. I guess you're analyzing a chart and then you're clicking buy or sell, but it's like the vehicle to letting you do what you actually want to do. And I think that's why it's so hard, because people that are currently struggling will see that opportunity, and it's like we get so much dopamine saying, oh yeah, I can make money quick, I can get rid of my debt, and then I can start pursuing what I want to do. But then that acts very much against them, because they end up rushing the process, messing themselves up, burning through sometimes so much money that they literally can't even recover, and trading leaves a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
How do you think someone should approach it then? A beginner, or would you even advise someone who's currently going through it financially to get into trading?
No, I personally think if you haven't got any money, trading is probably not something it should be on your radar. If you're in a serious amount of debt, trading is probably not something that should be on your radar. Your first port of call needs to be, you need to work, you need to get a job, you need to pay your bills. If you haven't got any money, why are you trying to spend more money that you haven't got, trying to do something which can emotionally drain you and make things 10 times worse? I've been in that position before. And again, this is never going to be financial advice, but you should only do these things when you're in a position to do so mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially as well. Trading is not a cheap sport. It does require subscriptions to platforms, softwares, whether it be TradingView or entering with a broker. It requires back testing. It requires you needing to journal your trades. Now you can use spreadsheets. You can do these things. You can do it cheaper, but you need to invest in education, whether or not people want to hear that or not. You need to invest in someone to actually teach you. You need to invest in emotional discipline with books, all these different things. You need to have a good laptop with good Wi-Fi, and you need to be emotionally stable to the point where you're willing to leave work, come home, put the kids to bed, spend 4 hours on the chart doing it. If you're there miserable, uncomfortable, unhappy, pressured, and anxious, depressed, it's never going to work.
True.
The people are so wrong when it comes to the quickest way to build generational wealth. It's not trading. It's not even business. And people think it's investing. It's not. The biggest, quickest way to generational wealth is compounding. And this is what I do. I compound every single month. And you don't need to be a trader to invest. You just need good financial advice of where to compound your money at the end of the day. And anyone can start doing that right now, because it's however much you can afford every single month into like a fund or an ISA or an S&P, wherever it is. That's where people should be thinking. And the trading side of it should be creating cash flow to continue compounding. And as you compound every single month, you can grow. I grow my trading accounts through actually more than just trading it. I have trading accounts which I use to trade with relative lot sizes, but every single month I will create cash flow through other business, whether it be social media, education. And I use that cash flow to invest it back into other investments I have. So I invest into the S&P. Every month I compound. Invest into ISAs for tax reasons. I invest into pensions.
Yeah.
Compound. I also invest into my own trading account. I put money into my trading account every single month because that is another way of growing it.
True.
And then when you compound it over 15 years, you could make £10,000 to £20,000 in 5 years on one trading account, risking safely or whatever it is. If you compound £500 a month into that same trading account, that could make you £200,000-300,000. Go on moneychimp.com and you can put the numbers in yourself. You can see, okay, I want to invest £100 a month for 20 years with a starting investment of £1,000, and I'm going to put an average of 7% gain in the S&P 500, whatever. Look at what the numbers would be. Obviously make it affordable for you. That is building a future. That is building you more time. And that is that's passive income. Passive income is not property. How is passive income property? Passive income is not trading, because you need to be there to press the buttons. You need to be there to manage a property.
Mm-hmm.
Passive income is you and me sitting here talking whilst we're both making money in the background. It's not social media. It's not ads, because someone needs to be there to manage all of that and run that business. It's passive income is compound investing, letting your investment grow every month. Automated direct debits come out into your compounding accounts, and you're not doing anything. You're just letting it do its thing.
Yeah.
But it's all about the mental mindset and how people can approach that and sit with that. If someone is in debt and wants to start trading, unfortunately, you need to get yourself in a better position. You need to go and get a job, and you need to approach it in the most sensible way. It's the only way.
You actually have to put a lot of investment, but both physically, mentally, and also financially. You have to get a mentor, or obviously we have platforms like YouTube, social media, I guess, to learn, but I feel like you can't replace that one-to-one feedback that you can get from someone who's been where you, or is where you want to go. When you first started out, did you have a mentor, or did you learn from YouTube and stuff?
When I first learned how to trade, I mentioned, go back to Greg Secker. I couldn't afford, I think he was charging a couple of £1,000. I just couldn't afford it. I went with this, I won't name this company, but basically I went with this company, and they ring you up and they talk about how they can help you create all of this wealth with trading and things like that. You just need £5,000, £2,000 is the program, blah, blah, blah. Again, I didn't really have any of that money, but I ended up getting a loan out for this program. And basically this wasn't trend lines. This was a day trading strategy, which basically was you trade in cycles. So they would teach you how to basically wait for 2 cycles on the daily time frame and basically take the trade on the second cycle. And I couldn't make any money with it. Again, whether it's a successful strategy, I don't know. But essentially glorified trend lines. I didn't do very well at it at all. And I got really stressed at the person. There was about 50 people in this group. And there was probably only about 15 people that were active in this WhatsApp group. And I remember being really stressed. And this person who ran this business rang me and he said, look, you can trade with me as in like, I will trade your money. Think of it like an investment or a portfolio where you will put money into this account. It's an automated system, trades gold every day. It's £25,000 is the minimum investment. I will take 50% of the profits, but this is the results. He showed me the results. I thought, okay, easy money. Didn't have £25,000. So what do? I got a loan out through my other business at the time that I had, which wasn't doing very well at that point. So I took a loan out against that specific business, plunged myself into all of that debt just to make it work. And then as soon as you put this money in, it just rapidly goes down and down and down and down and down to the point where I'm kicking this guy's door down. I'm going mental at him because he's lost so much money that I've invested into money I didn't have. And I'm mentally just depressed. Like, it's horrible, the feeling. I'm lying to my family, and none of my family, my wife doesn't know anything about this, or girlfriend at the time, but she doesn't know any of this is going on. And I basically lose my shit, pardon my language, but I'm on this WhatsApp group, and this must be 2007, 16, 17, something like that. And I lose everything to this, and I just scream at this guy in front of everyone. He ignores me and basically kicks me out of the group, and there's no more of it. But there's a girl or a lady, she messaged me, and her name was Sharon, and she messaged me and she said, I want to set up a Zoom call with you. She's a woman from America. I said, okay, well, why? She said, oh, just because I've seen your experience and I want to talk to you about it. I was like, no, but I'm not buying anything else. I haven't got any more money. She said, no. She's like, just talk to me. I was like, okay, so I get on this Zoom call with her, and she said, look, same thing happened to me in this group. I'm with this other group right now, and I'm generally seeing a lot of good results for it. I'm not affiliated with them, but I see what's gone with you, and feel really sad. And it's £50 to £100 a month, whatever it was. And I think, well, I'll have a look, 7-day free trial. And this is where I got introduced to smart money concepts. So within that, my whole world opened, and I thought I really resonate with this way of trading, smart money concepts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start watching ICT videos because I'm introduced to that side of the world. And I never got interested in, I was trying to learn the ICT smart money concepts way, because the ICT and smart money is the same thing. That people say, what do you prefer, ICT or smart money? They're the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I learned with ICT and smart money concepts in his earlier videos, like this whole 2020 model, 2022 model, whatever it is. I was trading and making money before all that came out. If you go to his YouTube videos where it's like month 1 to 10, they're the real source, but no one watches them because they're all the biggest views are on the lower time frame stuff. But anyway, long story short, I was in this group of a big group. I think they were called I Am Academy or something like that. And I learned from one guy. There was only one guy I wanted to follow, and his name was Matthew Rodriguez. And basically, he left this establishment, and I followed him. I was like, I want to learn what you learn. I want to go with you because of the way he trades. It was just really, really good. And I don't trade in the same way he trades, but I stuck with him, and I had loads of time with him. But then equally, I looked around at different places and different people to help me, and I sought help from different people. So I look at market structure and candles. The way I read candle price was with someone called Ross Cameron, who is on YouTube. Now, he's got loads of subscribers, but no, I don't trade. He trades stocks and options. I don't trade anything the way he trades, but he taught me this very critical part of the candle closure. I followed a lot of Tom Dante. I was obsessed with his content and what he would put out there, things like that. Mark Douglas was the tipping point for me in terms of what helped me make money. And with all of that together, I ended up basically creating a way of being able to trade. And the way I traded and started making money in 2020, 2021 was a lot different to how I trade now, because I've grown and evolved into becoming a better trader. And I think in a couple of years, I'll be trading similarly, but I will still have a different way of entering the market, because you just learn and grow and adapt. And it goes back to what we said earlier. You have to continue being a sponge to invest in. And I spent a lot of money on crappy courses and crappy education until it got to the ones that I liked and wanted to do. Everything I do has never been learned from by one particular person. There's a lot of people who I ought to thank in my career for getting me and helping me get to where I am. But a lot of it is, again, me. I'm the strategy that I trade. When someone comes on and learns with me, and I spoke to someone yesterday, and she was telling me how much value she's had from our program. And I look at how she's trading. She's not trading the same way I'm trading anymore. She's doing her own thing. And I'm like, did I teach you that? And she's like, well, no, you did because of this. And I was like, yeah, I get it. Because she's interpreted her own way of now doing it.
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to do is instill confidence into people. And that's half the battle.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that psychological shift, I think that's where you really find a valuable mentor. I think anyone can essentially teach their own strategy, but it's that confidence that you can instill in people that right now necessarily don't have a reason to have confidence, that can really drive someone on to achieve stuff that they couldn't even fathom of achieving beforehand. So
100%.
Yeah, I can really relate to that, because I remember I joined a group sometime last year, I think. And initially it started out around teaching his strategy, but then over time I really understood that what he was installing was just the confidence to stick to one thing, do it over and over again to the point where you no longer question it. I think that's where you want to get to, where with the way you trade. You don't question it. This is what I do. And then you just take the results from that and you adapt.
Yeah, it's being emotionless as well to making a trading decision. So if I win a trade, I don't react any more so the same as if I lose a trade. I could make a lot of money on a trade. I could lose a lot of money on a trade. And I could go downstairs out of the office to see my kids, my family, have dinner with them. If I've lost £5,000 on the day, you wouldn't know. I could have lost £10,000 this week, £30,000 this week. Could be in front of you now. You probably wouldn't know about it. And equally, I could have made 20,000, 30,000 this week, and you wouldn't know about it. And it's the way I emotionally am able to switch off with it. I'm not emotionally able to switch off with a lot of things in life, mainly sport. So, for example, I can be very emotionless when it comes to trading and losing money, because I know over time I've got a system which is going to help me make money. But like, if my football team, West Ham, were to lose a game in a relegation battle, my wife has to look at the results. When I'm at the football, she has to literally, look at check the results and know what type of mood I'm going to be in. We're either having steak tonight or having McDonald's when I get home. Like, trust me. And it's crazy. And that emotionally gets me. The Ryder Cup golf, I was crying at the TV.
Really? Golf, yeah?
I love golf. Yeah. I was crying at the TV. Tommy Fleetwood, and like when he misses all those near misses with the PGA weekends, I get emotional. Yeah. Because I'm emotionally invested into this. I can't control my emotions when it comes to golf, when it comes to football. The things I love doing and I love getting involved in. Other things as well. I'm a very emotional person, but trading, I'm just not. Investing, compounding, I'm not. Business, I'm not.
Do you think that stems from your confidence in your system, or it's just like over time the scars of the losses and you just build like thick skin?
It's experience. It's experience which has enabled me to become confident. And no one has experience. That's the problem. Everyone wants it in a system. So I did my YouTube 2-day event, and I gave everyone a system and how I think you should approach the market. And I said to them, right, go and do it. And within a week, I had a bad review. This doesn't work. It does work. You've come back a week later, and maybe those trades haven't worked out for you. But come back to me in 6 months. Come back in a year, and do what I said to do. And then come back and talk to me. Like, you need the data in front of you to be able to know, can you do this and can it make money over time, not over a quick period? Which is why I go back to saying you can't come into this if you've got no money. If you've only got £1,000 to invest in something, then unfortunately it's not going to work. Now, gratefully, we've got prop firms, which is a great tool. But to make money from prop firms, you need to have emotional discipline, which is very, very important. And prop firms are easy to pass if you just understand rule following. Don't trade within 2 minutes of news. I had someone the other day or the other month, and she said to me, I've got this live account, but I just don't, or he said to me, so I've got this live account, but I'm really like struggling with this news thing about how do I get around the news, like trading around news. I said, well, what are the rules? Don't trade 5 minutes either side of news. I said, well, don't trade 5 minutes either side of news then. What's going?
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Be like, the news is coming out at 1:30 UK time. Wait till 2 o'clock. Yeah. Or be done on your trades by half an hour before. Give yourself half an hour either side of it. Yeah. Why do people struggle so much with it? And when they get violated, you must see it all the time. Oh, they traded in the news. Why did you trade in the news? Yeah. 20% consistency is not a hard rule to follow. And it actually is a good rule. I like that. I like that prop firms introduced that to make yourself 20% consistency over time. Why? Otherwise, someone is just bad gambling. They're trying to full port all these different things. Yeah. So stick between 1% and 2% per trade. Yeah. And if you lose a funded account, yes, we understand. Yes, we understand the narrative and behind how a prop firm would make money. But you've lost a funded account. You just didn't follow the rules. It's nothing to do with the prop firm. And equally as well, when you buy a prop firm, let's say it's £500 or £300. I don't know how much they all cost, but if you've invested £300 into a prop firm, that's gone. If you lose it, you've lost £300. Yeah. Like, I know that's a lot of money to some people, but don't invest that money if you're not willing to risk it.
Yeah.
That's and it's the same with everything. So if you can't accept losing a prop firm challenge,
Yeah.
trading is not going to be for you.
At what point do you think a trader should either shift or start trading with prop firms?
I think I actually think you should start trading prop firms pretty much instantly. And the reason I say that is because it actually requires less risk. If you've got £5,000 to your name, why are you putting that into a broker? So to grow that by 10% every single month, it's difficult. And you're not going to make any money doing that. You've got to be aggressive. So you've almost got to, whatever your broker's leverage would be, you've got to use up all of that leverage to try and make more money and be aggressive with it. And with a prop firm, it's what, £350 for a 50k account or £450 for a 100k account, something like that. And it's that so you've risked, let's just call it £500. You've spent £500 on a challenge where it just requires rule taking, and if you pass the challenge, you get capital of up to simulated capital of up to £100,000. In which case, if you can make 10% of that, it's £10,000 or dollars, and then your payout is $8,000 because of the 20% split. So you could earn £8,000. I think spending your time generating cash flow with prop firms, if you can, is great, because then it allows you the chance to build up capital to then eventually move onto your trading account. But then equally, you can make a decision and you can think, actually, I can just make a living through generating cash flow through prop firms, and then I can do what Tom at the start said about compounding, and I can start compounding investments and things like that, and then I can start using that to make more generational wealth. So you might get to a stage where you think, well, I don't want a personal account. I've got it nailed on with a prop firm, with a strategy or whatever it is. That's what's good about trading, but prop firms are both good and bad, but it's how you look at them. I think they're a great opportunity for anyone that needs the capital to learn, as long as they are in a financial position where they can still do so. Yeah. Because it can help you generate more cash flow. And cash flow is king.
Yeah, 100%. And do you find a lot of your traders in your community trade with prop firms, or is it like a
No,
balance?
80% of people they come in, they have to, and they go in with prop firms, and we've got loads of them now who are leaving the prop firm space, who are now trading with their own capital because that's what they wanted to do. I've got a couple of people, and we created a small group in there where they basically they're not interested in trading with their own capital. They're just utilizing prop firms, and they're churning through prop firms, and they're doing really, really well from that, and that works for them. And it's building up a level of consistency for them, and even to the point where if someone blows a prop firm, if you've made £30,000 from a prop firm and you blow an account, well, do it again. Yeah. Repeat the thing again. Go do the challenge, and then build up your thing again. And if you've spent all that £30,000, you can't handle money. Yeah. It's how much have you got in the tank? And I don't think someone's ever going to keep the same prop firm account. I could probably go to any prop firm now, and I could come over to BrightFunded, and I could create an account, I could pass an account, I could probably lose an account, because naturally you make errors from time to time. But as long as I make money consistently from them, maybe there's a strategy that could be had for something like, if you've got a prop firm that's live, buy another one while you're trading live, match it up, mirror it up, and get maybe 2 in the background. And then you can utilize 3 prop firms, and then you can maybe go and get another one somewhere down the road, but keep it on reserve. So pass it and then leave it there. Don't do anything with it. And then possibly when you fail a couple, you've got a couple to lean back on, and you just kind of cycle through. Something like that could work.
I think when I speak to traders, that's often what they do. They'll have like 3 or 4 100k accounts rather than having one 100k funded account, and then they'll risk 1% on A, then 1% on B. So if they lose 3 of them, they can still be profitable in the month, because that first trade that ended up being a 3R. Yeah. So they've made money on a 25% win.
100%. Well, if you've got £500,000 in funding, 100, and that's 500k accounts, well, you only need to make 2 or 3% on those accounts every month, which is going to be well within your rules. Exactly. And you're still making £20,000-30,000 a month in profit with them together. Yeah. You're going to have good months, bad months, but it takes the pressure off.
Exactly, 100%. You know, each one is not as dire. You don't need it as much, and it just does a world of good for yourself. But yeah, one thing that I want to touch on, because personally I've been following you for years, and what I really like is the way you approach and your realism, and I feel like you depict the reality of trading, how it should be, the right mindset and everything. How, because obviously you mentioned you've got the freedom to travel whenever you want, and I know you go on a ski trip.
Yeah,
In
more than
January,
one,
isn't
mate.
it?
More than
Yeah.
one. Going
I
again on
love
Monday.
skiing myself. Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Living life. How important is that freedom? Like in comparison to when you were previously working, do you think once a trader tastes that freedom, they can't go back?
Yeah. So it's not even the money side of it. It's freedom to choose what you do. It's, you don't have to go skiing every other week like me. You can do you know what freedom is for me? I look at social media and I look at, there's a big trend of, I've just bought a car, a £500,000 car, a $5 million car, whatever. I don't give a shit about your car. I have got the freedom. I've got the freedom to pick my kids up from school. That to me,
priceless.
my dad worked so much to provide for his family, and he didn't get to pick us up from school, and he would have loved to. My kids are able to now grow up, and they will remember Daddy was at the school gate. Daddy was at all of the Christmas shows. Daddy was at sports day. Daddy was winning sports day races, because I'm training like fucking hard for that. Daddy was able to do all those things, and he was present in my childhood. Not that my dad wasn't, but I want to be ultra present in their childhood, having the ability to take them anywhere and give them all the opportunities that I think they deserve to have, giving them everything, giving my wife, my family, my extended family, everything that they could possibly want and need. That's freedom.
Yeah.
Money is obviously a byproduct of that, because it allows them to do that, but it doesn't cost me any money to walk up to the school and be able to pick my kids up and take them to the park after school at 3 o'clock, or take them to school, and being able to work on my own health and go to the gym and do that isn't in the busy hours. And I can travel up to London for a boxing lesson, and I'm on the train with all the commuters in my boxing gear.
Everyone's thinking, what is this?
And everyone's in their suits and laptops, and I'm that's general. That's how I love it. I love it, and it's working for myself. It's creating my own hours, and that's why trading is generally one of the best things you can do, because you've got no boss, you've got no one to look after in terms of customers, you've got no sales to worry about, you've got no website to create, no inventory, no payroll. It's you. It's a skill in your head, and even if you're not making money that particular month, you know that you can make money with the skill over time. And it gives you more opportunity to think about other things, like, okay, I want to look into investing and compounding. There's another business I actually want to do, which I have time to actually do and create a true passion for. So business acquisition might be someone wants to get into, and it's then having the ability to put more fingers in more pies. That's the freedom. And when I look at people on social media that flex certain things like jets, cars, all these things, like, A, I don't think they're all real, but B, I just don't think they look happy. And I'm the happiest man in the world being able to go and pick my kids up from school, being able to go and do that. And I'm looking to help people that want to do the same things that I wanted to do when it comes to when it comes to day trading and what it actually is. But equally being realistic about it as well.
But I think it's the way I see it is freedom is intrinsic. It's what you value. And a lot of the time what you see on social media is purely just, honestly, it's just ego versus ego. You see someone else get a Ferrari, now you have to get, I don't know, a Lamborghini Urus, and then you go up, you get a $5 million watch, but it's like, that watch, it can't do anything it's just materialistic. It can't do anything for you.
Listen, you can buy yourself a Ferrari or a Bentley or whatever car these people are coming in on social media with, but is it a 2-seater or a 4-seater? I'm buying a 4-seater. Because that's
you got a family.
That's for me is is what it's about, and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see pictures of my cards and all that on social media, and that may lose me engagement and following, because I understand how the content game works. I understand you need to post all that stuff because it makes people watch, but I'm not looking to work with people like that. I'm looking to work with people that want to go about things in the right way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at people that are trying to escape and create a lifestyle that, quite frankly, is just quite flashy. At the same way, if I'm in the fitness industry, I'm not looking to try and get a chiseled body and blast myself with steroids and things like that. I'm looking to just be healthy. I'm looking to feel happy, feel good. And I know that coming with that is fitness, is health, it's eating well. I understand all that. I was a personal trainer myself. And again, it's another industry I look at. I just think you're all idiots, because I understand that to me, it's feeling happy, being happy with yourself. I've got some people I know who are properly chiseled and they've got loads of money and they're doing really, really well for themselves, but they're miserable. I know people who don't have the body, they've got the beer belly and all that kind of stuff. They haven't got as much money, but they're the happiest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Like it's a balancing act.
Knowing what you want, what you truly want, rather than what you want everyone to see.
100%.
And I think that actually speaks to it, because, like you said, you don't show the flashy side, and you've still been able to build such a huge audience. And I think the industry is screaming for people that are real, and just I think people are tired of just seeing the same old unrelatable stuff that I guess people are manufactured. People want the real human, the struggles, we all go through it, and if you can find someone that you can relate to, it's priceless.
Yeah, and it's really hard. Like, training is hard. It's when you get there, it's easy, but getting there is really hard, and a lot of people don't get there. And it's not just trading; it's whatever else you're good at in your life. And I speak to, whenever I do a public event and we speak to people, I always get them to tell me what they do for a living, and I always ask them certain questions like, do you speak another language? Do you have another skill set that you're into? Is it playing an instrument? Is it doing something like that? And they all tell me these amazing things. There was a woman in our event in Munich. She'll know exactly who she is when I refer to her, because she was struggling with her trading, and she basically said, I just can't understand how to enter the market emotionally. Emotionally, it's just really making me struggle, all these different things. This woman speaks 5 languages. One of them is Mandarin, by the way.
Oof. Oh my God.
And I'm sitting there looking at her thinking, do you understand how skillful you are? And do you understand what you've been able to do? Like, she was 31 or something like that, 30, 31, young woman. And she speaks 5 languages, some of them are hardest languages in the world. I cannot tell you how jealous I am of that skill set that she has got. And she's sitting there struggling with trading. I'm like, trading will be a walk in the park compared to what you've been able to do. But her journey of how she learned all these languages was very difficult for her, but she's now done it. And she spent her whole life having to learn these languages, because basically she's been moved around. Yeah. So she's having to learn all these languages, and she's built up the knowledge to learn these languages through one thing only, and that's experience. And that's the exact same works in day trading. Every day you do things in your life. Driving, I've said this before, I said this on the last podcast. It's about, if someone can drive, you're not very good at driving when you first pass your driving test. You're crap at driving when you first pass your test. You've just been given a pink slip to say, yeah, go on. But you learn to drive. You learn to drive after, don't you? You learn to drive when the weather's bad, when you've got a dickhead driver in front of you. Yeah. You learn all these things. And over 10 years of driving, you've naturally built up some sort of
it's like subconscious
muscle memory,
autopilot,
where it's easy. Yeah. And trading will be the same, but it's pushing through that whole pain barrier of being disciplined, being emotionally right for it, and making sure that you're mentally in the right frame of mind to do it, because investing money is no joke. Yeah. Whether it's on a funded account, whether it's on a small live account, whether it's on a large account with capital, investing money requires a serious amount of intense physical health, motion, discipline from the person doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And honestly, I think that's the perfect way to end it. I think to summarize it, it's essentially trusting the process, going through the battles, the struggles, and just knowing over time that confidence, and the confidence within yourself that you build up from showing your resilience will end up paying off on the charts. as long as you stick to it, as long as you see it to the end.
Yeah, look, the only way it won't work is if you physically do quit, which is why a lot of people, it doesn't work for them because they quit. If you keep persisting with it, in 10 years' time, you'll be laughing. In 5 years' time, you'll be well on your way. It's just understanding that you're not going to be perfect today. You're not going to be perfect next week or even next month. And you're never going to be perfect, in fact, but you are going to start making money.
Yeah.
Because naturally over time, you'll think, oh, I'll buy there, I'll sell there. I know I can lose, and I lose a couple of trades. I can go on a 5 losing streak, and it's not a problem because I know that it's a couple of wins brings me out of that. When people go on a 5-run losing streak, they're like, I don't know. This isn't for me. It's like, because you've not experienced it before. Do you know how many times I've had a 5-trade losing streak and it doesn't bother me because I've had it. It's fine. I understand. This is what the markets are like.
Yeah. And you have to go through the 5 losing streaks to one day see the 5 winning streaks. So it's
100%.
It's a balance, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But yeah, Tom, thank you so much. Been an absolute pleasure. Like, personally, I'm super motivated to just get back on the chart and lock back in. I want to do a few ski trips this year. So
yeah, we'll go together. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Down. But yeah, thank you so much. And to everyone that watched at home, please drop your favorite nugget in the comment because I know there's absolutely a ton from this one. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, like, comment. Make sure to follow Tom on his socials here and catch us on the next one. Peace.